Good morning. Aloha. Welcome. Oh, I guess it's afternoon now. Whatever. Welcome to Rad Readings with Rebecca. I guess that's me. Okay, this is a collective reading. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Spirit, let me be a clear channel for thine messages so that what needs to be said is said, what needs to be heard is heard. For the highest good of everybody who is tuning into this past, present, future, and so it is. Anyway, I am pulling from my personal tarot / oracle / giggity deck. This is the Metamorphic Mysteries deck. 20 years in the making. And I got some cool shit to share about that. But anyway, let's get into the cards. Two fell out. We got the Wheel of Fortune, third eye vision, seeing the path, movement, forward look. And then we've got the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups is all about, like tending to your garden and, being self-sufficient. Nine of Cups is usually a card of like, you're kind of working on yourself. You're like channeling your energy into yourself. The next card coming up here is the Devil. Bondage, slavery, prey, predator, victim. A lot of times just the thing that we're really in bondage to is our own thinking. I know that very well because I've been there frequently. Anyway, so like I think all this together, it's sort of like, I would say, this card, there's a lot of trauma. Bondage, this could be addictions too. This could be all kinds of stuff. This could be ways of thinking. This doesn't necessarily, so this is the imagery in the card. You got the Devil here. And this is actually based on a drawing I did back in 2011. And then I made a digital version of it. And it's basically lawn gnomes who come to life at night. And then they eat pink flamingos. It's funny, okay? Anyway. Of a warped sense of humor, whatever. So, between the Wheel of Fortune, the Devil card, and then the Nine of Cups card, it sort of looks like, there's a sense of going inward, focusing on yourself. The next card out here is the Six of Swords, so there's this need to move away from shit that's causing this devil energy, and that could be something as simple as changing how you think. Myself personally, I was sitting here last night and doing quite a bit of release, I guess you could say, because I was just kind of going on an epic rant, and I needed to, but I also realized that getting stuck in that energy isn't helpful. There's a need to release it, get it out of you in whatever way is best for you, and then move forward and start putting energy into like what you can build, with the Nine of Cups kind of vibes here. We also have Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is lies, manipulation, sneaky energy, trickery, and stuff. So, this could be like, in what ways might you be kind of like tricking yourself? There is, with this Devil card and the Seven of Swords, the Six of Swords, Wheel of Fortune, and the Nine of Pentacles, there's also like, and we also have the Eight of Swords and Nine of Swords. So I'm seeing a lot of trauma in this reading. We've also got Ten of Swords, and then under Ten of Swords we have the Ace of Cups. Underneath that we've got the Strength card. So all that together, I would read that as, and if I'm reading for, I'll just use myself as an example because I think that would be the easiest. But me, I have had a lot of like trauma and stuff. I've had a lot of things that could, really worm their way into my mind and make life hard, if I focus on that. And I do find myself getting into those things. Like, for example, yesterday, I went on my epic rant alone in here, and then I was like scrolling on Instagram and my feed was just like filled with these ridiculous memes about like anxiety and depression, and I just started sharing these memes. And why I'm sharing that is like sometimes laughing at stuff and having a sense of humor about it can help, relatability can help, but I realize too, like, it's not an energy you want to stay into. Sometimes is, being able to laugh at stuff to move through it, might be graveside humor sometimes, but there's a need to kind of refocus. Sometimes there's a need to pivot. I find that for myself. Like, I give myself time to have my pity party and be pissed off, and then I have to pivot and get back to it. There's a little time to release and then get back to whatever it is I'm working on. I will say too, so there's a lot of cards coming up. I'm feeling kind of intuitively guided to just keep pulling cards here, because the next card we have is the Three of Swords, and that's mental anguish. And then the next card after that is the Four of Swords, and that's like taking a break. That's recharging after a long battle. That's resting. So for myself personally, I've gone through a lot of shit that makes it hard for me people somewhat, and it can, PTSD and CPTSD and stuff like that, it really has a way of like overshadowing everything, and it's easy to get caught in that mode. I know very well that, and I sympathize and empathize with anybody else who's going through that kind of stuff. And like with this reading, you might be dealing with energies that are pretty brutal, and what I'm telling myself when I'm working through this is like, take time. You need to let out that energy in a good way, but don't dwell on it. I'm telling myself that, The next card coming up is the Star, and I think that speaks to, like, the Star comes after the Tower card. So you have this cataclysmic event with the Tower card, and then with the Star, that's like one of the figures jumping from the Tower card, and she survived, and you see in the Star card typically, and that kind of echoes in my version of it too, but there's a woman, and she's like in the water, and she's washing herself, and she's washing off all of the stuff that collected on her from that. So what I would read this all together is like, this is a reading that speaks to working through trauma and working through mental blocks. There is the Eight of Swords here too. Where did it go? There's the Eight of Swords, Strength card. A lot of this too is like, don't let past trauma determine your future. Allow yourself to feel it, to move through it, to release it, but don't hold on to it. And then the last card I have here, this is one of my cards that isn't associated with the tarot, but this is my effervescence card. Steam, water transforming from a liquid to a gas, movement, energy, incretion, evaporation, transmutation, boiling. So what this is saying is like taking all of that pressure and alchemizing it, or using it as a catalyst to alchemize yourself. Be like, okay, what can I distill out of this that's useful, that can help me move through this stuff, and then I can live in a better way in the future, avoiding those things that might have caused the trauma. The other card coming out, I'm just going to keep pulling cards here until I feel like I'm done with it. The next card that comes out, and this is another one that's not associated with the tarot card, but this is, I call this the Akashic Conversions. It's Akashic Conversions, old trees. Are they ghosts or are they foreshadowing what's to come? Perhaps both the same, cycles we have forgotten. What this painting is in here, so I had this thing where for a while I'd be out and about, and I'd be in certain areas where there was like mountains and things like that, and I would see in my mind's eye, and sometimes very subtly, like even overlaid, like energetically, like these trees coming out of these mountains and shit, and it tripped me out, and I had this whole kind of download about it. Like, we have a lot of myths about, like, like civilization before it fell, and what it was like. either like spiritually advanced or technologically advanced to the point where they could do all this stuff. Like there's this concept of the veil where the sky touches the earth. When, you know, like when the veil is thin, you know, we can access the other realms. And there's another thing with the trees that goes with, because the tree is able to reach down into the earth with the roots, down to hell, and then its branches reach up to heaven. And there's this download that had come to me about something about how these trees are like a manifestation of the connection to the other side. And something about the fall, when civilization fell, like before recorded history, the things we only have myths of now, that at one time that connection, that channel, those trees were there and then it got cut down. And what was really weird about it is I had this big download about it, and then a few weeks later, I remember seeing a video. Someone was talking about some of the stuff in the desert and stuff, some of those plateaus. You look at some of these pictures of these geological structures, and they look like trees cut down. And there were people who were saying, like, you know, like our gravity used to be different and all that. But I think whether it's like a physical tree or it's more of an energetic expression, like more of like a metaphor in a sense, I think there's something to it about connecting all of the worlds. So going back to the reading and how that applies to that, you got the tree that's cut down here. The roots have reached to hell. There's still a connection there, but there's bringing that back up and getting back up into those higher planes. And there's a sense of like them regrowing. Certain trees, you can cut them down and they will grow back. Look at willow trees. You ever notice, like, you see a willow tree cut down and then all the shoots start coming back up? I feel like that kind of is on a similar wavelength. I would just say that I think this is just to reiterate, this is the 9 of Wands card. So waiting for an attack, guarded pessimism, blocking blessings, near completion, damage control. So with that one is sort of like, you know, thinking back to last night and the little rant I found myself going on, and, you know, it was needed. I needed to get that out of me, but I don't need to live in that. And part of that is coming from this 9 of Wands, this guarded PTSD. Haven't gone through this, and the shit can live in your head and take over, and it sucks. The next card coming out here is my wishes card. This is another one that's not associated with a tarot card. This is just a kind of standalone. I am thinking about doing something with this deck. Normally in the tarot we have like 4 elements, and I was thinking of adding another element of spirit to it, and then associating these cards with it. I'm still playing with that, or if I just have them standalone, but it's in the deck. So this is wishes. There's also a desire for color and vibrance. You know, this card, this image, I've always felt like this painting, this is a digital painting, by the way. I did it in Photoshop, like, back in, like, maybe 2004 or 5 or something like that. I don't remember, but this card, you know, it's got that concept of wishing, you know, like when you wish on a dandelion thing. But there's also, like, it's all gray tones. There's not really any color in it, you know. And what are we wishing for? And I think the wish is to bring that color back into that joy, those things that make us feel happy. And then, you know, too, I feel like some of my art tends to have this thing where, like, these paintings that can be years and years, decades even apart, but then they tend to really flow into each other in a weird way. So when you look at this wishes card and you look at this card, there's a sense that these go together. So this wishing, and then you have the color coming in here. I hope that makes sense. It's kind of maintain that vision of the good and what you want to build and what you want that to look like. Visualize it, manifest it in the ethers, start pulling that in. I thought I saw another card come out here that I feel like relates to that, but that might have been in a reading I did earlier. I did a little quick reading earlier this morning, and one of the cards that had come out, I feel it kind of goes in line with this, is the sense of having faith. So the card itself, the image is a hawk, and the hawk is like perched on a lightning bolt, and the lightning bolt is shaped like a branch. Yeah, so it's this sense of like having faith in the process and manifesting and things materializing with the understanding that, you kind of like they're built first in the ether. So like it's already there in existence, but you have to kind of like work on dialing into the specific frequency of it, visualizing it, looking at it and all that, and then having faith in that unfolding. So that's what that card speaks to, is having faith in that process. And that had come out earlier, and I feel like it's still relevant. So I wanted to just share that a little bit. I'm trying to see if I can find it in here, but it's kind of... All right, what else? And then I'll leave it at this one here because I like it. Actually, I'm going to keep going because there's some good shit in here. We're at 16 minutes already. Hot, holy damn. All right, okay. We'll finish up here. King of Earth. This is King of Pentacles. Stable, fatherly, consistent, abundant, wealthy, right? And then the next card coming up is the Temperance card. So using temperance, using balance, making little adjustments back and forth as you're manifesting and working on your things, while at the same time not letting yourself be your own worst enemy. I know that. I don't want to say more than anyone because I feel like that would be making a lot of assumptions, but I feel like I'm quite familiar with that shit. So like, and finally we got the sun, joy, new life, new day, new beginning, seed sprouting and growth that comes after all this stuff. And you think about a seed, for it to grow, it's got to be put into soil, it's got to be put into darkness. And you think about like anything that is born and it starts out in darkness, like whether it's inside of an egg or it's inside of a womb or in the earth growing, there's this element of darkness first before it sprouts through and breaks through the surface and reaches the sun. And I think that even speaks to the other cards that came out with the sense of trees. So like just having faith in the process and not getting caught up on the stuff that could potentially pull you back in, like I cut the deck and then the moon came out too, and that's, intuition secrets. A lot of us, one other thing I would speak to, I think is important, and I think I would actually write an article on this so I can elaborate more on it, but I just want to get it out there, is a lot of us who are really open, like psychically and stuff, a lot of us are also people who've dealt with massive amounts of trauma. And I think sometimes that trauma opens doors. It's like a curse and a gift because we become more sensitive to energies and things like that out of necessity for survival. But we also have to be careful about discernment and what we're picking up on. And being able to discern, okay, so what out here is like what is this coming from me and my own personal demons, if you will, or is this something out in the ethers that I should pay attention to? One thing I've learned too, when it comes to psychic stuff, don't take it all too seriously if you're picking up on things. I personally, I work with guides, I work with deities, ancestors and stuff like that. And while I love them, I don't trust everything I hear because I can't always, it's hard to say. You don't always know what you're picking up on. It could be your guide, but consider that, there are spirits out there that like to pretend too. So really working with discernment is important because there's tricky bastards out there. And the spirit world is much like this world. There are nice people and they're fucking assholes. Some people will just be dicks for the sake of it because they get a laugh out of it and it's funny to them. And spirits are the same way. So there's discernment, testing your spirits and stuff, making sure, always having a little bit of a grain of salt, maybe carry some salt with you. That might be a good kind of thing you could do energetically. If you are really open and you're picking up on a lot of stuff and it is overwhelming, maybe what you could do for yourself is like get a little vial or like a little bag or something and put some salt in there and pray over it and bless it and put the intention that you know is that grain of salt that you take stuff with that helps you discern, you know, and be like, okay, what's going on here? So anyway, I hope this helps. This was kind of a fun little reading, get back into the groove. I think I'm gonna put this on YouTube because it's like 20 minutes. It ended up being a little longer than I anticipated, but I'll put a preview on Instagram, I think. Yeah. Okay. Well, much love. Thank you for tuning in. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you watching, and I will be back with some more readings and ASMR stuff. I got a few ASMR videos, and I've got some cool like permaculture gardening shit I'm gonna be sharing too. Like I've been doing some fun projects there that I'm excited about. I don't know if you know this about me, but I also have a design in permaculture. I have a certificate in permaculture design, and that's something I'm still like a big learning curve. I have so much to learn on that, but it's exciting, and I've been trying to do more with that, and so I'll be sharing more with that because I'm trying to like share shit I'm doing, because that's what we do now or whatever. Right? So anyway, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. Aloha.